Most traders think they need to be smarter, faster, or more analytical to win, but the truth is far more uncomfortable. I once watched a trader with an actual PhD in mathematics, someone who could solve equations that looked like alien hieroglyphics, blow up a six-figure account in less than 3 months. And the guy who sat right next to him, a quiet dude who barely passed college, turned the same amount of money into a consistent income stream just by doing one thing differently. Want to guess what it was? Why is it that the people with the most information, the most indicators, the most training still lose? And why do the traders who seem slow, simple, or boring end up outperforming everyone in the long run? What if the real profit engine in trading is something you've never bothered to measure? And what if your biggest weakness is not your strategy or your entries, but your impulse to act before the market does? If you've ever been in a trade that moved against you instantly because you rushed the entry, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever closed a winning position too early because you couldn't wait, or jumped into a setup that wasn't fully formed just because it looked close enough, or sat there refreshing the chart like your entire life depended on the next candle, then you know the pain of impatience. That quiet anxiety in your chest, that voice saying, "Come on, just get in now, you don't want to miss it," has cost you more money than any bad strategy ever could. And be honest, how many times have you said to yourself, "I knew I should have waited," or "the market would have given me the perfect entry if I had just held on a little longer," or "every time I force it, I get punished"? How many of your losses came not from the market being unpredictable, but from you being unwilling to sit, breathe, and let the trade come to you? Most traders think the solution is to get smarter. Study more. Learn more indicators. Memorize more candle patterns. But if intelligence or knowledge alone made great traders, the smartest people in the world would be the wealthiest traders alive, and they aren't. In fact, the data shows the opposite. Highly analytical traders often overthink themselves right into bad decisions. They create scenarios that aren't there. They anticipate reversals that haven't started. They jump early because their brain is 3 steps ahead, but the market is moving 1 step at a time. I've watched traders build entire narratives out of one candle, like they're reading prophecy. I've seen others predict every possible scenario except the one that actually happened. And the consequence? They enter too soon, exit too soon, widen stops in fear, or shrink targets in panic. They know too much, and that knowledge becomes noise that drowns out discipline. Let me give you an analogy that changed my entire perspective. Imagine you're watching a master archer in the forest. He's hunting, but he doesn't move like you expect. He's slow, still, patient, almost like a statue blended into the trees. He doesn't fire at the first sign of movement. He waits for the right moment, the moment where the target is within range, where the shot is clean, where the odds are in his favor. Now compare that to a beginner with a bow, who fires at every rustling leaf, every shadow, every flicker in the corner of their eye. They waste energy, waste arrows, and scare off the very thing they're trying to catch. Isn't that exactly how most traders behave? Jumping at shadows, entering at the slightest hint of a pattern, reacting instead of observing? When you chase every flicker of price movement, are you hunting, or are you simply firing blindly into the woods? And which one do you honestly resonate with more? The secret reason patience pays more than IQ is embarrassingly simple. The market rewards those who wait for the high probability moment and punishes those who cannot. And you know this. You felt this. Every time you forced a setup, it hurt you. Every time you waited for confirmation, you made better decisions. Think about your best trades ever. Weren't they the ones where the setup was obvious, the conditions were clean, and you didn't feel like you were guessing? Weren't they the ones where you waited calmly until the chart literally handed you the entry? And compare that feeling to your worst trades, the ones where you jumped early or acted out of FOMO or told yourself, "If I don't get in now, it's going to leave without me." Those trades feel like chasing a moving car while wearing flip-flops. Patience isn't a personality trait. It's a skill set. It's a trained capacity to sit with your impulses without acting on them. And it's the one thing that separates the few who make money consistently from the masses who blow up. Let's break this down, because there are several layers to patience that most people never think about. First, there's chart patience. This is your ability to wait for the setup. I once had a student who would take 5 trades before 9:30 a.m. None of them planned, none of them in his strategy. He simply couldn't sit still. When I asked him why he kept doing it, he said, "I'm scared that if I don't take trades early, I won't make anything today." And do you know what happened the moment he stopped trading out of fear of missing out? His win rate almost doubled. His stress disappeared. He realized the market isn't a lottery machine. You don't lose your chance if you don't pull the lever fast enough. Then there's trade patience. Holding the trade. Letting it play out. Letting your edge unfold. Think about all the times you've closed a winning position too early because the chart twitched one candle against you. Or the times you moved your stop too tight because the trade made you uncomfortable. This isn't strategy, it's survival instinct. And survival instinct will sabotage your equity curve more than any drawdown ever will. I had another student who always cut winners early, but let losers breathe. Classic emotional inversion. He couldn't stand the idea of giving back unrealized gains, even tiny ones. But he tolerated huge drawdowns in his losers. Why? Because patience was applied in the wrong direction. He was patient with pain, but impatient with profit. Finally, there's psychological patience, the hardest kind. This is the patience to go through losing streaks without panicking. The patience to not abandon your system after a red week. The patience to stay disciplined when nothing is working yet. Trading is the only profession where you can do everything right and still lose money in the short term. You need the patience to let the long-term edge manifest itself. Imagine a farmer planting seeds and then digging them up every morning to check if they've grown. That's how most traders treat their strategies. They expect instant results. They expect every week to be green. They expect perfect accuracy. But the market does not reward the impatient farmer. It rewards the one who plants, waters, and waits. Now let's zoom out even further. I want to share a paradox that confuses most traders. The less you trade, the more you tend to make. And the more selective you become, the more confidence you gain. It seems upside down, because we're conditioned to believe productivity equals frequency. But in trading, productivity equals selectivity. Another paradox. The trades you wait longest for usually feel the easiest once you're in them. They move smoothly. They respect structure. They hit targets without drama. Meanwhile, the trades you rush into always feel chaotic. They react violently. They whip you out. They seem to know you entered emotionally. Isn't it strange how the market seems to sense when you're desperate? Now, let's talk about developing patience as a muscle. You can train it. You can strengthen it. You can build it like any other skill. One exercise I give my students is the no-trade hour. For the first hour of their session, they are not allowed to enter a trade under any circumstances. They must mark setups, observe the tape, read structure, but they cannot execute. The first few days, they almost lose their minds. But after a week or two, something changes. They start seeing the market more clearly. They stop reacting to noise. They stop forcing entries. They realize how many of their previous trades were unnecessary. Another exercise is the 2-candle confirmation. If your setup requires one signal, add one more. Force yourself to wait until the market proves itself twice. This alone dramatically filters out low-quality trades. A third exercise is journaling your impulses. Every time you want to take a trade that isn't in your plan, write down the impulse before acting. By the time you finish writing, the emotional urge usually dissolves. And since you know I love a good metaphor, Let me give you one that ties this all together. Picture a lion in the savannah. It does not chase every creature that runs past. It does not sprint at every rustle in the grass. A lion's survival depends on selective patience. It waits, and waits, and waits, hours, sometimes an entire day, motionless, observing, conserving energy, studying the herd, timing the wind, watching the direction they move. The lion only attacks when the odds align, when the target is isolated, when the angle is right, when the kill is high probability. That is why the lion is a predator, not prey. Now ask yourself, do you trade like a lion? Or do you chase every chart like a panicked hyena running in circles? Do you wait for the market to misstep, or do you throw yourself at every candle and hope it works out? You need to choose your identity in this game. You need to decide who you are, because the market will treat you according to the character you bring to it. When you start seeing yourself as a patient, disciplined, selective trader, your decisions will automatically shift. You will stop feeling the need to be in the market. You will stop fearing that you're missing out. You will start recognizing that opportunities never disappear. They simply cycle. I remember a trader who told me, "I'm done forcing trades. I trade like a sniper now." And his entire approach changed. He traded less, risked less, worried less, and made more. Another student said, "I realized the market moves every day, but I don't have to." That became her mantra. She went from chaotic overtrading to calm consistency. So let me leave you with this. Patience pays more than intelligence, because intelligence can be sabotaged by emotion, but patience protects you from yourself. Patience reduces losses. Patience amplifies good entries. Patience eliminates noise. Patience keeps you aligned with the structure instead of your impulses. And patience turns a trader into a strategist. When you sit down to trade tomorrow, ask yourself, am I the hunter or the hunted? And every time you feel that urge to jump early, to chase, to force, to predict, pause for 3 seconds and remember this sentence. The market rewards those who wait their turn. If you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to trade like a professional, then start practicing the one skill that costs nothing, but pays everything: patience. Now go prove to yourself that you can wait for what you deserve, because in trading, and in life, the patient are the ones who get paid.